There we go. Right, give me a second just to remove the music so we can get started here. Awesome. How is it going, guys? Welcome back to the new season of LEC and another season of Inside Fnatic's Brush. Thank you for joining me again. Last year was amazing. I posted a bunch of stats on the Twitter account about how the Twitch stream grew. So I want to thank you guys again for following last year, and hopefully there's just as many of you this year. Especially we're diving into a new LEC season, very peculiar one in terms of its format. We're gonna cover all of that a bit later. Also, obviously, going over Fnatic's roster, a unexpected, I think, return for one of our players. That very obviously, you all know who I'm talking about, and the classic tier list rankings. Have an estimation of all the new rosters that came in this season. A lot of surprising ones, a couple of rookies coming in as well, and predictions into this. I was going to say super week, but every week's going to be a super week because it's going to be 3 days of games. So let's jump right into it. Let's look at all of this together. Quick thing. Want to thank you guys again for your support. We surpassed, I should say, 500 followers on the Twitter account during, I think, the Christmas period, roughly. So, again, thank you guys for following, liking the content, the tweets, the memes. I'm going to be continuing to be as active on the account, giving you updates of the games as it goes on. And just bring the entertainment, bring the information to you guys. So just a quick shout out and thanks again for the support. With that said, moving on into our LEC format this year. So there's a bunch of stuff on the screen. Some of you may have already understood how it works. If you have, well done, because it's not necessarily that easy while not being too complicated. But if you're a long-term viewer of the LEC, you're probably having a hard time to adapt to the new format. So just to simplify it a little bit, what we used to have before was double round robin. Every team faces each other twice, with every week playing 2 games except for the Super Week. And going into that, top 6 go into the playoff format, and then it's a double elimination bracket. So as you go forward, there's an LEC winner for spring and for summer, and then obviously a few championship points that come into the mix to see who goes to Worlds, and obviously spring winners goes to MSI. That was the old format. Going into 2023, so this year, starting today, tomorrow I should say, there's going to be 3 parts. So first part, a bit similar to what we used to have, but instead of double round robin, we have single round robin. So now every team is facing each other once. Very little space for mistake. So that's going to be for 3 weeks, 3 games. Very fast paced. Not sure how the teams are going to manage to train properly, but that's going to be an interesting schedule to manage. Can I start the explanation again, Loki? No, I cannot. You should have been here when I started. But you can still watch the VOD if you need to on Twitch account or on YouTube IFB podcast. But no problem, I've got you. Or even on the Spotify if you have Spotify. So I've got you covered, Loki. Don't worry. That said, top 8 gets qualified after 3 weeks of play. Then we go into a sort of group stage with 2 groups, double elimination. So It's a bit like we have in sort of the playoffs format. To make it simple, you have to win two best of threes. Win two best of threes, you get into the playoff stage. Lose two, you're out. So I'm not too sure how these groups are gonna be put in. If it's gonna be like the first, third, fifth, and seventh, and then second, like this, or if the first gets to determine which team goes on the other group whatsoever. I know these formats have specific names. I don't have them right now, but in any case, that's how it's going to be for the group stage. Playoffs is a top four. Again, double elimination, best of five. So back to our playoffs format as we've had. And now we'll have three splits. The winter, spring, and summer split that go into the season finals, where the three teams who've qualified for the split get immediately into the season finals, and then I believe it's three other teams which are the ones with the most championship point, and that's where we crown a single LEC champion for the season. Two chances to play at MSI. We'll see. We'll see how we get there. I believe it's winter and spring split champion that get qualified. So it'll be interesting because the team that wins in winter, maybe they won't be as strong as it will be when MSI comes around. But that's another conversation. Thank you, Loki, for giving me the chance to plug my stuff. Appreciate that. I know you're always on the lookout for me. But yeah, there you go. Free splits, free sort of layers of filtering the teams. Top eight, top four, and then a champion, and end of season, an LEC champion. So there's gonna be less opportunity to be LEC champion, but there's going to be more games for us. So as spectators, I guess we're winning here. I'm just kind of worried for the teams and the amount of burnout there's going to be, because it feels like it's very compact in terms of games, especially the top eight. So my opinion is a bit that the teams that have a lot of experience and who are able to adapt as fast as possible and come up with plans on how to either improve or at least patch up some mistakes are going to be the best at going top eight. And again, top eight is like there's only two teams who are not going to make it out. So while there's a high chance, obviously, you can't make it out because you only face each team once. You'd really have to, like, if you're a top team, an ambitious top team, it'd be very hard for you to be at the bottom. But then again, like best of unique single round robin best of ones, we've seen that anything can happen. So many upsets and everything, and there's no second try. So yeah, that'll be definitely some spicy regular seasons as we go into the first 3 weeks. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that impacts some of the rankings, and if or what's expected in terms of tier lists and strengths for the current teams will be reflected throughout the different splits. So yeah, overall exciting. I'm looking forward to see how it works out and how the teams adapt to it, and if in terms of viewing experience, if we actually get something better in the end. So yeah, that's going to cover everything about LEC format. Now we're going to talk obviously about our favorite team, Fnatic, for 2023. We have a young promising player coming back in the name of Reckless, which I think was probably the most unexpected announcement, or I should say rumor leak, that we had last year. I'd say that I was surprised that Upset left, but obviously after everything that's been said about issues within the team, lack of leadership, everyone being a little bit shy. Um, Obviously, it wasn't working out. Again, for the second year in a row, Worlds has been super troublesome with players not being able to get there on time. And, Rux, who's obviously joining the team this year, managed to do, well, did his best, really, with the few games that he was tasked with. So you can't really blame him for that. As going on, we'll see how he fits into the LEC team. What are you saying, Loki? On this podcast, I said Upset was a mechanical upgrade on Reckless. What is my stance now? Well, I'm getting there, Loki. Reckless coming back is definitely something. It's a choice that's quite controversial. Beyond the fact that obviously he left, he went to our rivals, and then he went back to he went down to LFL, where he still won Spring Split, and he won EU Masters. So there's still something in his trophy case. Obviously, Summer wasn't too great. They didn't even. I don't think they even made the playoffs of LFL, or they did, and they got kicked very fast. So, yeah, a bit more trouble. But what I would say is that, how are you gonna explain this? Reckless is like a known quantity, in a sense that when there's the right tools around him, and obviously he's able to perform as he's had been able to with Fnatic throughout his career, you're going to have a stable lane. You're not necessarily going to have a lane that's crushing it, maybe like, Upset and Hilly, like they did it, which really they were above most bot lanes. You could, argue that obviously Comp and Trinby were the better bot lane, especially during summer. But I think what we can appreciate in Reckless is that he's going to stay very stable into his lane, and he's not going to give kills very easily. Maybe he'll be a bit behind in CS, but he's not going to completely lose his lane. What I like in that is that it will give a bit more space for Rux to play with Razork, in the sense that he's going to be able to roam a bit more. They're going to be able to set up maybe the mid lane as well, so a bit more how do you call it? A bit more resources into Humanoid, which I think was kind of lacking. We're very bot lane focused for most of the season, and you could see that especially during summer. Hilly is usually a roamer who likes to get in the vision, the information, likes to sync up with his jungler. Wasn't doing that very much last season, and especially towards the end of the season, which is a bit of a weird behavior, in my opinion, for a player like Hilly, who we know is always roaming. That's why he usually dies. He gets caught, but he gets that information at the same time, and he's able to set up his other lanes properly, whether it be top and mid, while his ADC kind of keeps control of the bot lane, not giving too much away, trying to stay steady in terms of CS. What are you saying, Loki? Do you think we've downgraded our roster on paper for the hope of better team synergy? Well, here's the way I see it, is that you can't say it's a downgrade if on the other side you're saying there's more synergy, right? Because a team isn't just mechanics. It's not just the people who click the best on their keyboards and mice. That's not how it works. Is that maybe mechanically we're losing a little bit, but if we get more synergy, it's not a downgrade anymore, because we've seen the super teams, especially last year's, whether it be LCS and LEC, just not working out. And it's like, these guys are the best. They got trophies, amazing mechanics, amazing read on the game, and it just doesn't work out. So sometimes a simple change of like, well, maybe it's not the best, but they work better with the team. There's more people who are willing to give up their lanes, play a bit more of a weak side in order to make other lanes shine. And what I will say is that when Rux was announced for the team, people went crazy. They're like, "Oh no, downgrade! Hillisang has a much better read on the game, one of the best supports," which is true. But if what's been said is also true and echoed by Yamato, which was lack of leadership, everyone just kind of in their corner, not really addressing the issues, like knowing there are issues without doing that much to fix them because there's no direction. I think Rux is the guy to bring it. Now, I know, like I've watched a little bit of the Euphoria. They're bringing up something that was interesting in the sense that Rux was able to do this. 'Cause Rux has played all his career in second division or ERL, whatever you want to call it. He's been with Fnatic for quite some time now. Started when we were still in the NLC, and then in Superliga last year. So he knows the structure very well. He's been very much a leader in all of those teams, maybe because of his age, but I think it's also part of his personality as well. And I think that's what he's going to be able to bring into the team. That's what was echoed a little bit already in his few games that he played at Worlds. I don't know if it was Wunder or Razork saying, Rux was already giving a lot of suggestions. He was participating in the team conversation. So already there, he was already implementing himself into the team, and he's performed really well. Obviously, it's a very, very, very small, like a handful of games that we have to base our analysis of his performances. But still, I think if you're able to show up straight away within the conditions that you're set up, where he was chilling on holidays in Spain, I believe, and you're like, well, you have to come over other side of the planet, play competitive games on the biggest stage of them all, and qualification mode of play-ins. So yeah, you go and you smash those international players. The guy has only played ERLs, and even though ERLs there's a good level, I think it requires still a lot of control on your emotions first of all, but also when you're a support and you have to coordinate with a team that you have never played with, requires a lot of skill in advance. So exactly, the intangibles that he brings, I think that's what's needed. Because I think maybe the mistake that we had is we just had very good players, very good mechanical players all around. But if you don't have that voice, if you're not able to create those strats where your jungler and your support are syncing up, getting the information, trying to invade, it's like, yeah, all of it, awesome, upset, smash this lane, but then what happens, So I don't think it's necessarily bad that we take a step back and we go with someone who, again, is a known quantity, and we're able to play with that. It's probably Crusher, because Crusher has coached Rux last year, so I think he's obviously very familiar with what he's able to do. Humanoid and Razork have no idea how to play together. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that they don't know how to play together. I think it's more that just the team didn't know how to play together overall. And so because of that, the focus was set on Upset. And Upset has always been someone who's been very resource heavy. So, like, I don't know how it was, but it always felt like the attention had to be brought into the bot lane, and then Humanoid, who's a very good player, would stand on his own and get CS advantage and everything, but at the same time would be very vulnerable from ganks from the opponents. So that's the problem, is that you put all that pressure in the bot lane, all that focus in the bot lane, and you become a bit of a one-dimensional team in the end. And Humanoid, who's been one of the best mid laners, does his best, but he doesn't have that information to, not get ganked. And he's like, well, maybe he feels a bit abandoned on that. And so we'll see if having Rux actually changes that, and also if, I don't know, maybe the new format as well makes it a bit more high stakes for Humanoid, who we've known is a bit chill during the regular season and then switches it on during the playoffs. So yeah, well, again, the way they were playing before, maybe it'll be fixed. There's new coach, there's new staff, so maybe there's something missing there. I don't think that from one year to another people play the same way, and that's why. And I'll cover it when we do the tier list of teams who have stayed the same for the most part. Doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna have the same performance afterwards. So, do I think Fnatic will play around more bot or top? And what are your predictions for winter's play? So predictions will come right after. I've done a tier list and a ranking, so I'll talk about that afterwards. I don't know if they'll play more around bot or top. However, I'm hoping that they'll actually focus more around mid. The reason why I'm saying that is that the way I see it is that our two extreme lanes, top and bot, are not gonna be lanes who are gonna say, today I'm the one who's carrying, so focus is on me. Wunder is gonna be the guy who's, he's gonna say, put me on Gragas, put me on Ornn. He'll have a more supportive approach, and he'll play to not lose his lane, go even, and whenever he has to link up with the team, he'll be strong enough to frontline or do whatever. I think in the bot lane's a bit the same. Reckless has never been an insane carry. He has carried games, but he's never been like, I want the focus on me, I'm gonna carry the game. He's gonna get his CS, he's gonna get his advantages, and then he'll be able to do something more into the mid to late game. I'm hoping that we're finally giving the resources to Humanoid to just absolutely smash it. Like, we've seen what he's able to do at Worlds, where he's gone absolutely insane in his performances, and I think it's time to capitalize on this. So I'm not too sure how they're gonna manage their drafts around this, but if Reckless tends to play like he has to before, where he's okay to be alone in his lane and let his support roam, sync up with the jungler, put some pressure mid or elsewhere, I think that would be the better strategy to go to. And what I would say is that Rux and Razork seem to be getting on pretty well from their sort of Spanish link. I know Rux is Portuguese, but he speaks very good Spanish, so they have that link up. So maybe there's a good synergy as well there. Like in FIFA, there's the green line because they're both from Spanish. They're both speaking Spanish, so we'll see how that works out on that sense. Lidden, hey, how's it going? I feel like Reckless has never been a player who demands resources, so I think they will. It's either going to be mid or top, and seeing that there's been a few like bruisers being played so far, there could be a chance that we give some resources to Wunder as well. So I'll definitely agree on that, Lidden. Hilly sang when 0-16 during the last. I mean, again, there were definitely some issues within the team and the playstyle, and it didn't work out. So, thank you, Inferno, for following. By the way, just got the notification. But yeah, again, I will say overall, definitely I was surprised by Reckless's return. Um, I was looking maybe at other ADCs, maybe Inax, for instance, or Hexakick, who have been quite promising in the LFL. Um, Obviously, they've gone to different teams, and obviously, we also had the rumor of what's his name, Carzzy coming over, and again, as much as everyone likes to slam Carzzy, if our intention going into this next season is being, oh, maybe we need a bot lane that's not as resource heavy, and maybe able to put our focus somewhere else into the lanes like mid or our top lane, it would make sense, that they would want to go for a guy like this, and maybe Hilly-san, who's, I mean, it's been said countless times. This is not just coming from me. He's a very emotional player, obviously. So he, his performance basically is affected by how he feels on the team he's playing, and I think that's been reflected throughout the years he's been in Fnatic. And when he's been at the top, you can see that he's feeling well, he's feeling confident, he's happy with the players he's playing with. And on the other side, when something's going wrong, then he just kind of shuts down, and I don't know if he's losing his creativity, his vision, his flexibility in terms of, again, roaming, making plays, having vision into the game. But yeah, obviously very sad to lose Hilly-san, but I hope he's happy in Mad Lions, and he brings us the old performances. Not against us, obviously, but still. Lydon, what the hell? You never followed before? I am so disappointed, man. What the hell? It be your own, dude. But thanks for following, finally. But yeah, it bugged. Yeah, right. Sure, dude. My dog ate my homework. That's the kind of excuse you're bringing right now. Actually, just before we move on, I want to talk about the staff right here. I think for the first time in a very long time, we have one of the most stacked staff ever. That's been, I think, request that a lot of fans have had for many, many years here. Invest in more staff, more coaching, more coaching. So watch Hilly Carzzy breaking the LECUI due to the massive. I mean, it's definitely gonna be super coin flippy, and I'm gonna mention that when we go through the tier list. But it's the unhinged bot lane, that's gonna be them 100%. Excuse me, I just need to blow my nose very quickly. I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry about that. Going back to our staff, Hiva is correct. Yes, Hiva is correct. So, obviously, walking away from Yamato, who, as much as we like to criticize him, did the best with what he had, especially in the first year, which was a bit of a mix match roster. Last year, I think he had the cards to really do much more, and it didn't really happen. And I think obviously that's the biggest disappointment here, and it validates the fact that we wouldn't be continuing with him. Crusher has been successful with Fnatic Team Castle in spring, not so much in summer of last year, but I think that we finally have what I feel is an actual a bit more of a coach and more the strategic sense of things. Not saying that Yamato isn't a coach, but I don't know. There's a bit more credibility, I think, in Crusher. And like you said, Lydon, the fact that he's paired with Hiva, who has been a massive piece of Misfit success when they've always kind of been underdog and getting some rookies here and there, and being able to make playoffs, upset big teams, and you know, really, really surprise, I think, a lot of people who were watching. And when Misfits actually, I don't know if it's just disbanded or left the LEC, I was actually hoping that we could maybe get our hands on Hiva. I don't know if it's in how do you call it? As a main coach or just as part of the coaching team, but super happy that he's joined the ranks. The fact that we've kept Shaves and Sense, we've got all the tools needed to be successful this year and really cover any playing play style issues we may have. So, overall, I'm super excited about this team. I want to see what they're able to perform together. I'm just hoping that Reckless doesn't fall back into his bad habits as he's had with Fnatic. My small gripe that I'll have is that we've seen Reckless for the past few months while he was still contracted with Carmen Corp, saying, yeah, why did I leave Fnatic, blah, 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 being a bit nostalgic. He finally comes back. He's super happy to be given the opportunity again. Great. I'm super happy to have you back. However, I don't want him to feel comfortable. That's all. I want him to feel comfortable in the sense that's what's gonna help him perform in Fnatic, and he's like, oh, it's my old home. I'm finally back where I belong. And to be honest, like, Reckless has only been able to really perform at his best within Fnatic. G2 didn't work out. Carman Corp was a mixed bag, and obviously Elements was a dumpster fire. Oh, it was a super team. Who knew? There you go. Even back in 2015. I don't want Reckless to be comfortable, mascot. I mean, yeah, I want him to be comfortable, but not too comfortable. Maybe that's the better sentence. But yeah, I need him to show more. I need him to be the guy who's evolved, who's left all these previous shenanigans behind him, be much more maybe of a leader, but I also want him to play any champion that's available and not saying, I'm not, I don't think I'm, again, I'm not too comfortable with that champion. It's like, this champion is good, you should be able to play it, and you're going to be able to play it. So that's what I'm expecting from him. But I'm one of the guys who's happy to see him back. I know it's been very controversial. People have, completely decided to put like a fatwa on him. It's like, no, Reckless, he's betrayed us, like it's a next girlfriend or anything. It's like, it's a video game. Forget it. He's back, and if he performs well, then everybody will start liking him again. If he doesn't perform well, everyone will be like, yeah, we were right. Should have never brought him back. Should have kept upset. Blah blah blah. I mean, the usual. Every year it's the same. Yeah, that's about it for our roster this year. Jumping into our tier list. Wait, I'm just gonna make sure that I have the right screen for this. There we go. Oh, hey, there we go. It's tier list time. Everyone's favorite activity during the preseason. Judging the teams. So let's see what we have. We have starting with Astralis. So Astralis. So actually, I'm gonna just so you guys have a bit of information. Astralis this year has Finn. Who again lost his spot to Odawane. It's just he never gets a break, man. 113 coming from Carmine Corp, Dajor, Kobe, and Jonghoon, who are the remaining 3 from last year. Now, Fint. I mean, to be honest, he did rather well on Excel last year. I think he's one of the rare players who's come back from NA and that doesn't look actually worse from it. He's somewhat improved. With that said, while I think, Dajor, Kobe, Jonghoon did somewhat well, I think Dajor's kind of on the upwards trend. I think he's improving. It's still a team that lacks a lot of ambition. Putting in 1-1-3 there, it's rough, man. It's super rough. You're really putting him in the spotlight, trial by fire, and like, okay, dude, there you go, LEC stage, and he doesn't have the right people, I think, around him, right? I'd say to perform as well as he can. I'm not sure. I'm hesitating between C and D. I'm gonna put C for now. And maybe I'll relocate them as we go forward, but yeah. I don't know. It's just actually the fact that they lost Cersei. Cersei was pretty good for them. Finn, I would say Finn is an upgrade to visit Chachi. We'll keep it at C. We'll keep it at C for now. Maybe we'll change it. BDS. No, BDS. Ooh. BDS has Adam, Shio, Nuclear Int, Crenshaw, and Labrov. I'm gonna be this guy. I think there are players who are only meant to play in ERLs, and I think Adam is one of them. Adam is the same thing every time. Performs well in ERL, we bring him to LEC. Sucks in LEC, we bring him down there. They're like, oh shit, he's doing super well in ERL. It's like, yeah, obviously. Don't you understand the pattern that every time he's in ERL, he's he's crushing everyone. But then when he gets confronted to top laners in the LEC, he absolutely sends it. So I don't think that Adam is really gonna show an improved version of himself. Yeah, he deserves to play in ERLs. He deserves to stay in ERLs. That's the thing. It's like, I don't think he has a spot in LEC. And every time people are like, oh no, he's doing well in ERLs, he deserves a spot back in LEC. I think people don't understand the actual gap there is between LEC and ERLs, to the point that the latest rookies that we've had from ERLs have not cut it, really, or barely. Like, you look at Reeker, one split, is out. It was in BDS, I believe, last year. Absolutely smashes it. One of the best mid laners there. Irrelevant, he did okay, but definitely won't be one of the greatest top laners ever. He's an okay top laner. Mersa, he did fine as well. Nothing grandiose. It's... I think organizations need to realize that because players are doing super well in ERLs and they didn't get the proper chance in LEC, they deserve to come back. I think you gotta take away the copium mask and say, well, this guy is an ERL player, and that's the only place he's gonna be able to perform in. And it sucks, but it's a harsh reality. And you can add, obviously, Crenshaw and Labrov. I think it'll be an interesting bot lane. I think Labrov isn't too bad, but I don't think it's the right team for him to shine, to be honest. Nuclear Int, he was okay. Shio was very good in ERL, but again, he doesn't strike me as someone who's just gonna... You look at Syncroft last year, I think Syncroft was much more solid for them than maybe what Shio can do. And it's really sad for Syncroft. He got put into the mess because, man, when he started in spring, everyone was looking at him and saying, this guy is this guy is decent. So I think I'm gonna put them in D. I don't know. This roster just doesn't inspire me at all. No. On the contrary, Excel. Now Excel has done the Mercato of the Year, man. Here the names: Odoamne, Cersei, Vitio, Patrick, and Targamas. That is caviar roster. The fact that you're able to get Odoamne, by the way, just after he wins LEC, wow, well done. Cersei, I've seen so many tier lists where he's rated C or D. I don't know what people are watching. We're not watching the same games. Cersei is an absolute menace. He's one of the smartest junglers that exists. And I think if he's paired with other smart players, it's checkers, dude. Checkers and chess combined. So I think already Odoamne, Cersei, you have that Romanian connection. It's two very veteran, smart players who know how to adapt and play their role to the fullest. Amazing. Vitio, very good during regular season. Kind of fades away during playoffs, but he's been a very consistent player. Has a bit of a one trick, two trick with his Akali, but I think he's a decent player, and with the pieces that he has around him, definitely going to be able to shine. Patrick, one of the best ADCs that the LEC has had for years, and everyone is sleeping on for some reason. I would have liked for him to join Fnatic, but didn't happen. Targamas was super impressive, very flexible with his picks. Another very smart player again, and I feel like they've avoided the problem of the super team, where while they're all very good players, it's not like all superstar players. They're all players who have so much capacity within their playstyle, and I think this is it's such a beautiful team. Really, it's such a beautiful team, and I'm really excited to watch them. I mean, that's the thing. Is like Vitio in playoffs, I don't know. He just kind of drops in levels, so maybe he changes a little bit. Again, depends of the pieces around him, environment of the team. I'm still gonna put Excel in S tier because I think the roster they came up with super strong. Moving forward, our dear Fnatic. I've spoken about Fnatic in length just before. I think we're A tier for now. We'll see if we go into S tier, but with both, I think the changes that we've made and the staff that we've implemented, we can definitely, go for an A tier. Next is Koi. Now Koi, I've seen, if not everyone, most people put Koi in S tier because Koi is rogue. Except Koi is not rogue. In my opinion, Koi has lost one of their biggest pieces within Odoamne, and they brought in Shigenda. And Shigenda is exactly the type of player I've just mentioned, which is, he's doing super well in ERL. Let's bring him back to the LEC. Oh, he's getting smashed in LEC. Let's bring him back to the ERL. He's doing super well in ERL. Let's bring him back to the LEC. Oh, he's getting at least 2 or 3 times he's been brought back to the LEC, and every time he's been brought back to the LEC, he's gotten trashed. I'm gonna mention the show match that happened between Koi and Fnatic. Now, obviously, it's a show match. Not everyone's playing to their maximum. Although Koi was kind of, playing the try-hard picks. But literally Wunder against Shigenda, where Wunder was with Yumi, and Shigenda had Fiora. So Fiora should just be like pushing and smashing because Yuumi has no pushing power. He almost died 1v1 against Wunder's Yuumi. And you're gonna tell me you're super excited for this player? And on top of that, Shigenda is more of a carry style player. Like he's gonna play the bruisers and everything. When it's gonna be the time to play the big tanks, the front lines, is he gonna be able to play as well as Odo Amni, who I think is one of the best to actually play those type of champions? I don't think so. And a lot of people, oh well, there's still the core. There's Malrang, Larsen, Comp Trimby, one of the best bot lane. Sure, that was the case last year. It doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the case this year. Is Malrang still going to be spamming Jarvan? Are teams now going to be able to read a bit more into his playstyle and therefore not be sort of trapped in his plays or his moves? I think that teams that have very low modifications are, again, a known quantity, so maybe other teams are able to better prepare against them. So I don't think they've dropped too much. A lot of people put him S tier. I think they're more of an A tier right now because I don't know. Again, I think Shigenda is kind of bringing this team down, and might require more resources. While Odo Amne, you could just leave Odo in his lane, and it'd be relevant throughout the game. So, yeah, that's my take on that one. Now, Mad Lions. So you guys want to talk about Mad Lions? Mad Lions is gonna be the most unhinged team ever. Karzi, Hylissang in the bot lane. Niski stays mid. We still have Elyoya in the jungle, who has been one of the best junglers. And now we have a new top laner, despite... what was his name? Crap, I'm forgetting. How am I forgetting the Turkish top laner? Help me. Anyways, this guy was... Armut, thank you. They wanted to he had extended his contract the same year he gets kicked, and that's probably like the third time it's happened. Narmut, yeah, exactly, the Nar one trick. But instead they've gone for Chasey, so I'm not necessarily very familiar with him. I know he's played with what's her name, X7, and X7 was rather a strong team. I think he's played for an LCK like academy team. Is it Damwon or someone else? So, I'm not too sure what he's worth. I just think it's a super coin flippy team, obviously, and who knows how many times it's gonna land on head. So because of that, put them in B tier for now. Also because I don't know what Chase is able to do. But yeah, I don't see like a strong carry in the team other than Elyoya. But Elyoya cannot be doing the carrying every time, even though he was sweating for his life last season and just pulling his team through the finishing line. But yeah, B tier for now. I think that's all right. G2 is another team who's brought in some insane players with Hansama and Mickey X in the bot lane, which I think is going to be a massive threat. And they brought in a rookie for the first time in many years. Wait, was Targamas considered a rookie? No, I think he had played before, right? Oh, there's Flacket. No, sorry, I'm talking out my ass right now. But yeah, they brought in. Oh my god, why am I blanking so hard? Yike, that's his name. Yike, LDLC, probably one of the best junglers in ERL. I will say this. I think he's probably one of the few ERL players who's gonna smash it in the LEC. Because I think he's that strong. With that said, we are looking at a super team. And we've all seen what happens with super teams. And Hans hasn't played the best in NA. Maybe it will improve. Maybe it will come back in Europe. But in NA, he was making so many mistakes, like individual mistakes that weren't relative to what his team was doing. But yeah, for me, it just felt very weird to see him play on Team Liquid and the mistakes he was making. So I'm not too sure what level he's going to bring. Just if you look at the names, Hansama, MKX, obviously it's an insane bot lane to have, but we'll see. That there'll definitely be a very aggressive bot lane that's going to be looking to take advantages by just smashing, getting kills. But is Hansama going to be able to do it again as he used to? We'll see. So while everyone has put them in S tier, I think I'll put them in A tier for now because, again, smells like super team, as Nevarna would say. SK. SK is actually very interesting. They said they were going to make big investments. Well, they didn't really, but they've definitely, I think, improved overall. They brought in Irrelevant, Marcoon. They'll still have Certus in the mid lane. They've got Exakick and DOS, which was the previous LDLC bot lane. It's a hard one to evaluate. I think Irrelevant did rather well overall on Misfits. Marcoon as well on Excel. Kind of dwindled down towards the end of the season last year. Certus, I think, is kind of the weakest link here. Exakick, I think, is a promising ADC, but we'll have to see how he performs on the LEC stage. And DOS. Now, DOS has been in the LEC before, and if you know, there's an expression that says, if it's DOS, it's a loss. So I think he's one of them again. It's like, he plays in ERL, he's smashing it. He plays in LEC, he's not up to the level. So I'm just not sure. Plus the fact that he's an insanely toxic piece of shit. I don't know how that's going to impact his team really, but yeah, there's some interesting pieces. I think they can probably make top 8, but I don't know. I don't know if it's either B or C, to be honest. Because if I put them in B, I'm saying they're as good as Mad Lions, roughly. I feel like they're in between, kinda. I don't know. I'll put them in C, but I don't think it's completely crazy to suggest them in B. Moving on, Team Heretics. Now, Team Heretics, team that replaced Misfits, for you guys who don't know. And I don't know, it's such a mix and match type of team. They have all types of players, and I'm not too sure now. What's his name? I'm gonna find him. The coach is the super smart guy, and why am I completely Team Heretics. They're not even giving me Pierre Dunn. There we go, Pierre Dunn. Pierre Dunn's a super smart coach, and he's very good at scouting good talents. So you could be thinking, well, bringing in Evi is a bit weird. Oh yeah, sorry. The team is Evi, Jankos, Ruby, Dex Spectra, and Mersa. Now Evi is a bit of a solid rock in the top lane, but he's only been playing in Japan. And he was with Detonation Focus Me, who's the winningest team and the only winning team in Japan. And he's had some really good performances at Worlds. But I don't know, it's just a very curious pick. Jankos is an amazing, solid pick as well. Super knowledgeable, great veteran. I think everyone would be happy with Jankos on their team. Then you have Ruby, who was on Unicorns of Love last year. And I mean, I don't know enough, but it's just like him. Like, why would you go for? I mean, there's something in Peter Dunn's crazy mind that he knows and that we don't. And then obviously Jack Spectra, which I think I'm looking forward to him playing the LEC. He is hyped as crazy, dude. Probably one of the best ADCs coming in. Again, one of the few ERL players who's definitely gonna smash it. And Mersa, who's I think has been solid overall for Misfits. So it's a tight little team, to be honest. Like I think he's done a good job just bringing all those people together, and I'm not sure where to put them, to be honest, because at the same time there's like weird players in this team. But on the other side, it's like, well, there's a high chance these guys could actually play together and work super well together. So I put them in B tier, but there's a chance they could also be in A tier throughout the season. Yeah, I'm definitely very curious on how Team Heretic's going to perform this year. Last but definitely not least, we have the team that has changed the most out of any other team here. It's Team Vitality. Now, you've probably heard a lot from them because Bo, who was signed last year, is finally going to play, and he is terrorizing solo queue right now. On the same time, they brought in Neon, who I think is a decent ADC. Not as good as people, I think, praise him for, but I think he does the job. And Kaiser, who I think has constantly been one of the best supports in the LEC. The newest, I'd say, addition would be Photon, who, from what I recall, was on T1's Academy team, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure how he's gonna perform, but a lot of people have been saying that he's a very, very decent top laner, so I'll take their word for it. Imagine if Bo flops. Now, that's my next point, is that Bo, terror in solo queue, but does that necessarily translate within the team? My other issue is that Vitality is just a bad org. Like, everybody I've been speaking to who either works in the scene or knows a little bit always say Vitality is just not that well managed, to be honest. So I'm not too sure. I kind of want to put them in A, but I feel they could be in B. Maybe they finally break the mold and they perform as well as promised, but yeah. There's a lot of big names as well. And like, there's good players, but I don't know, I just feel it lacks something in this team. and it feels like it's gonna rely on Bo 1v9ing every game, and I don't think what he does in solo queue is just gonna be able to transition that directly into what do you call it? Into LEC. So that's roughly my tier list in terms of rankings. This is what it looks like. I've got XL as number 1. I think G2 is probably going to do well as well. I put Fnatic third, Koi right behind with Vitality and Mad Lions. Mad Lions and Team Heretics could easily swap, and SK Astralis BDS as the bottom. So top 6, top 8, I think is pretty solid, unless Astralis BDS perform better than expected, but I think that's alright. Top 6, anything could happen. Team Heretics, Mad Lions, that could switch as well. Self-made career is over. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell. I don't know what his mindset is. Is he still thinking about playing competitive? Probably. I wouldn't put it past him. But I don't know. I don't know if there's something wrong with him or if there's bad words about him in the community, and that's why he never gets picked. But it's definitely a shame that he's not been playing for a few years. He's stuck in Vitality. I think he's still contracted to them. So yeah. But yeah, that's roughly it. XL, G2, Fnatic, Koi, Vitality, Mad Lions, Team Heretics could switch, SK, Astralis, and BDS. So we'll see if I got it right, if I'm completely besides it, but I think that's roughly a fair prediction. Speaking of prediction, we have 3 days of play for the next few weeks. We roughly have the same predictions. G2 XL is going to be an insane opener. I've got XL, you guys have G2. All the rest, usually it's the better teams. Fnatic versus Vitality. Fnatic has a super rough schedule. It's Vitality, G2, and Koi. And again, it's a it's a single round robin, so you need to get all the points you need. I've put Fnatic winner for the 3 of them because screw it. I wanna hope that it's either 0-3 or 3-0. I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I think and I'm hoping for the 3-0 personally, because I think if you start 3-0, you put yourself in such a great position to at least get top 8. So that's that. This one, it's the same. You guys don't really rate XL that much. You've put them losers in most of them, saying Koi would win against them, and Vitality versus Team Heretics. I've done a bit of a spicy one here, thinking maybe Team Heretics will win, but there's a high chance that Vitality wins it. And for the last day, Team Heretics, XL, G2, Fnatic, Vitality versus Mad. I put Vitality as a 0-3. I've just realized. I don't know why. I've probably inted my predictions, but I've put Mad Lions just for the sake of it. You guys put Vitality. Probably have the smartest decision here, but yeah, that's the predictions for the first week. I'm super excited for it to start. But guys, thank you for tuning in, as many as you are, for the first episode. I'll see you next week after the first part of the new season. Don't forget to follow all the socials, the Facebook, the Twitters, the YouTubes, the Spotify. Episodes usually get posted either tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how YouTube and Spotify are willing to cooperate with me. But yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Hopefully Fnatic wins. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Always Fnatic, guys. Bye-bye.